Okay, day 3. This was the other big day. I have a lot to talk about with day 3. I kind of figured that this stream would probably end after day 3 because like I have so much to talk about. So day 3, Comiket was insane. Quite the experience. We did not intend to go to Comiket originally. We knew Comiket was happening prior to the trip, but by the time we realized it, uh, tickets were sold out, so we couldn't get tickets. So we were kind of on the fence of whether we want to go. And even the night before this, we were kind of like, do we want to go? Kieran was like, I want to go, but I don't want to go. I want to go, but I don't want to wait in line all day and then find out I can't get in. So like literally the morning of, we were like, let's go. We're here. It's happening. Let's try it. It's an experience, right? So let's go to Comiket. If you don't know what Comiket is, it's a convention mostly for like doujin artists and stuff. It's basically imagine a convention, but the only attraction is just gigantic artist alleys. Like no panels, no like exhibitors, no like shows. It's just artist alleys. Mostly doujins, but other things too, which is really cool to see a thriving support for the artist market. It is huge. So this year, I think they had record numbers, but like on average, it's about the same. They had about 150,000 attendees. 150,000. By comparison, Anime Expo, which I've been to, which is my biggest convention prior to this, is only about 30,000. That's 5 times bigger than Anime Expo. Could you believe that? If you've been to Anime Expo, you know how crowded it is. 5 times bigger than Anime Expo is insane. This photo is from their official Twitter page. This is what it looks like. I kid you not, this is what it looks like inside that hall. It is crazy. It is crazy. But above all, it is super impressive how well they've organized everything so we do not devolve into complete chaos, which I will talk about. Secondly, Comiket was taking place at Tokyo Big Sight, the same place where Grand Blue Fest was happening. Now, Grand Blue Fest was like a fraction of the building, so this was taking up the majority of the buildings. But consider this, Grand Blue Fest was only 2 days ago. They had only 1 day to take down everything from Grand Blue Fest. That includes the stage that we saw, the giant archway, all the cosplay pieces, the kitchen. They had 1 day to take all that stuff down and then set up for Comiket in the span of 1 day between Grand Blue Fest and Comiket. That is insane. That is insane. On the official Comiket Twitter account, they also have an English version of the Twitter account. They actually document some of the takedown and the setup, which is really interesting to look at. I recommend you go look it up if you're interested in looking at event logistics stuff. It was insane. So let's talk about Comiket. So this is the key artwork for this year. It's their 50th anniversary, which is pretty cool. Again, we came at a really good time. Everything we wanted to see was happening at the same time in Tokyo, and we didn't even plan this stuff out. Like Tales Museum, Comiket, Grand Blue Fest, some of the stuff from the later streams. We were very lucky. So, Comiket, we've never been there, obviously. And again, it's very Japanese in terms of like, there's not that much English signage. So, we were looking at their Twitter page that morning just to see what to expect and what to prepare ourselves for. Because again, we didn't have tickets. So, we'd have to do tickets at the door, which is not recommended. So, we looked up their English Twitter account, and they actually have an entire thread talking about tips for first timers, which I thought was really interesting and really nice of them. Let's look at some of them now so we can get an idea of what to expect. And this is what we went into expecting, because again, we didn't know. So it's just 1 day until Comic Market 107. And as many of you are participating for the first time, here are some tips for this fun but not easy event. When you hear it actually, experience is likely rather different. Please take this thread to heart. Also good for returning participants. 1. Freezing cold. Comic Market is a very crowded event with 150,000 or more participants per day. There'll be long lines outside before entering in 0 to 5 degrees Celsius, which is around 41 degrees Fahrenheit, cold with strong winds near the ocean water. Be prepared with warm cloth that can be taken off once inside. Luckily, for me, being a Canadian, this was a non-issue, but there were a lot of people I could see, yeah, you definitely want to dress warmer than what you might think. Don't push it. Do not try your limit. Getting sick or injured will ruin not only the event for you, but your whole trip. Also, you should not risk infecting others if you feel unwell. Having the courage not to go or leaving early is an important part of the Comiket experience. Tickets needed. You need a ticket or a wristband to enter. There are different types, but most are already sold out, except the PM wristbands. We strongly recommend them in stores instead of the insane lines for on-site sales at the venue. Also much cheaper. They reiterate this point so many times about not buying tickets on site. So we're like, do we want to go? We have to buy tickets on site. Is this going to go well for us? Do we want to do this? I can see why they would deter it, but there were a lot of people that were doing on-site tickets as well. They have AM tickets and PM tickets, but the AM ones you have to get ahead of time. The PM ones, there are some at the door. So we had to go for the PM as well. We didn't know how early to go and line up either. We didn't know what the line would look like as well. There was a lot of guesswork involved with our first time trying to figure out how to get in and how busy it would be and whether they would have enough for us. But like again, usual, if you're able to buy a ticket ahead of time, it's convenient. You just go to a convenience store and you print it off and take care of that. Felix, welcome to the stream. Thank you so much for following and being a froggy friend. Welcome in. So again, they reiterate, on-site sale not recommended. On-site sale will only start in the afternoon. Lines will be very long in the freezing cold. Not fun. It says very directly, not fun. They are still available at anime stores. They're even cheaper there. Best, do not come without a ticket or wristband. Repeated due to importance. So again, we're like, do we want to go? It keeps telling us not to go, but I mean, we couldn't. They were sold out everywhere, right? So we're like, this was really like a deterrent. And again, I see why they say this, but, well, you'll find out. Different each day. So Comiket is 2 days. So each day of Comic Market 107, December 30th and 31st, features over 11,000 completely different circles for different games. Check which day your favorite genre is to make sure to come on the right day for the genres you love. So they list what is on which day. I will show you guys a bigger version of this later. So we're going on day 1 because day 1 had all the stuff we wanted. Public transportation. Please use public transportation. There is no parking for cars or bikes. We also recommend the Rinkai Line RO3 station with the least detours to get to the venue. It is not allowed to stay overnight near the venue. So they have some maps. So the thing is, Tokyo Big Sight, last time we went for Grand Blue Fest, we went to Tokyo Big Sight Station, which makes the most sense. It's the closest one. So they were telling us all to go to another station, which was a couple blocks away, and not to the station right next to the venue, and you'll see why. No signal. So many people mean there's often no mobile signal and public Wi-Fi is not working. Do not depend on digital communication to join with your friends. Decide on a meeting spot and time in advance in case you get lost. We will not make public announcements. Again, I like how a lot of the advice is very practical here as well. You can tell they know what to tell people. Queues, people, queues. There will be queues of people everywhere to get out of the station, to get to the waiting lines, the waiting line itself, for the toilets, to move between east and west, for individual circles and corporations, for the stores, people everywhere. They were not kidding. That is so true. Most of your time at Comiket is spent waiting in lines. Everybody is a participant. There are no guests at Comic Market. It's not a full-service amusement park. Circles, corporations, visitors, and even staff, all volunteers, are all participants, just of a different type. It's an event which works together on the festival. I think this is a really cool mentality. And you can really feel it when you're there, actually, which is kind of cool. Yeah, it sounds like a Dr. Seuss book, right? New routes from the stations. Routes from the stations to the waiting lines and many routes inside the venue are different from the past due to ongoing construction work inside and around the venue. Please follow the instructions from staff. International desk. Staff speaking English, Chinese, and Korean will be at the international desk located in the West Atrium or on the second floor of East 1 Hall. Multi-language staff will be wearing neon pink vests and will be stationed around the venue, especially in the morning outside. So there are people that can help you out in English, but again, they are not in the majority of people. So still, like, we were kind of on our own here. Cosplaying at Comiket, make sure to read the rules and use the cosplay changing room, as coming and going in cosplay is not allowed. Everybody can use the changing rooms once inside the venue. A 500 yen fee applies. The cosplay culture is very interesting at this place because, again, like I said, it is so packed with so many people. I'm surprised people even come to cosplay, but they brought their game. They were really good. Photographing cosplayers. You must ask each cosplayer before taking their picture. There's a Japanese law and manners. Also get permission before posting to social media. The cosplay areas are located at the gardens, West 4 Hall, and the rooftop. So they have like designated places for the cosplayers to take pictures, which is nice. From Big Sight with Love, over 24,000 circles and roughly 10,000 cosplayers will be expressing themselves over 2 days of Comic Market 107. We are certain you will find your ski love here. Maybe it's even your turn to express yourself at your next Comiket. Helping each other. Those of you with experience, please help those who join for the first time. And first timers, please do not hesitate to ask any staff or participants for help and advice. Even with a language barrier, we are all like-minded otaku with similar goals for the day. Again, I like this mentality. Are you ready? Now let's check if we packed everything. Important, warm clothes. Important, ticket or wristband. Important, nowhere to go. Good shoes, good night's sleep, decent breakfast. Let's enjoy Comic Market 107 on December 30th to 31st, 2025. Again, I kind of like the way they write these. It's very friendly despite all their warnings of impending doom. So we wake up and we're like, okay, we gotta get going. So we stop at McDonald's. They're serving their breakfast menu, which isn't really that different than an English McDonald's. The drinks are, maybe they had a couple different drinks, like oolong tea or whatnot. I just had a caramel latte and a sausage McMuffin. It tasted like a regular sausage McMuffin. We also went to the convenience store and grabbed some stuff. We knew that we would need stuff because we're going to be waiting in lines all day. So I grabbed some pink buns with cream inside with some Sanrio characters on them. I got a Calpis drink, and Lork and Kieran also stocked up on food and stuff like that. So we were ready for the day. Also at the Family Mart, we found they have these wafer packages with different series, and they had Tails ones and Trails ones as well. I was very surprised to see the Tails ones because again, Tails is, I'm always surprised to see Tails stuff because I always feel like Namco always forgets Tails and doesn't do stuff with them. So every time I see it, it's like, oh, you'll see these later in the trip. We actually end up buying some of these, but not today. So we stop by the station, we walk by. There's like a bunch of pop-up stores in the station too, as well. There's like a paper craft store, which is super cool. You can see these like really cool paper crafts. We also saw a guy restocking the vending machine, which was kind of funny. And then we also got onto the train car and we saw there was a woman only sign, which at first we were like, uh-oh, are we in the right place? We actually saw this on a previous night as well, but there are times where the woman only sign applies to prevent harassment, but it's like the first or last cars of a train, supposed to be mostly for women and like children or elderly to prevent harassment and stuff like that too. Just in general though, everyone was very polite on the trains. I love how quiet the train rides are, because I don't know, in America I feel like every time you get on a train or a bus, someone's always loudly talking on the phone, sometimes in a different language because they know no one else can understand, so they talk really loud, and it's really like people have their music blasting and stuff. And of course in Japan that's all like, you know, you're not supposed to do that, so it was like very nice and peaceful, all the transit rides there. I miss it because I don't like loud noisy transit rides. Okay, so thus begins our journey to Comiket. This is entire most of the talking about Comiket is about getting there and getting in, honestly. This is one of the maps they provide. You can see at the bottom there's Tokyo Big Sight. That's the station. They have Tokyo Big Sight Station, but they told us to go to Ariake Station. You can see like some of the other lines that we talked about earlier are on here, like Ikebukuro, Nippori, Narita Airport are all on here. Yeah, it's the mini map. So this is the other map they tell you. So again, Tokyo Big Sight at the bottom. You can see Tokyo Big Sight Station in pink in the bottom left, and then up in the upper right, Ariake Station. So they told us to go to Ariake Station up here. Yeah, it's a good thing that we actually came to this place the day or 2 days before for Grand Blue Fest. It was nice to see it when it wasn't so busy, and then to see it busy because it was a lot easier to find our way around. So this is the other thing, again, follow staff instructions from the station. So apparently you can buy the PM wristbands like underneath the big inverted like pyramid thing. But the problem was we wanted to make sure we went into the right line because we didn't want to wait in the wrong line for hours and figure out that we were in the wrong line. And also we didn't want to miss out on, them selling out of the on-site PM wristbands. So we got a line and we thought it was a line for getting in and the wristbands. Kieran checked with one of the staff members and that's what they kind of said, but it was really busy and there were a lot of people, so we were like still like nervous. We're like, are we in the right line? So we're like consciously waiting and being like, oh, we really hope that we get there and we get in, right? So there's also the people entering with the AM wristbands. They were already going in and those lines were moving, but the PM lines weren't moving because we're all waiting for 12:30, which is the time to come in. We got here at, I think, like 11 o'clock. We got here at about 11. We didn't know how early to get here, plus we also slept in a little bit. So this is a picture of the sign. This is actually from their official Twitter account. My picture of the sign's not as nice, but you can see the key art and the mascot and whatnot. Celebrating 50 years. Okay, so we get off the train, and everyone on the train is getting off to go to Comiket. The entire city is going to Comiket. We get off the train, and this is the sea of people. We're just following the people. The police are there. The police are directing traffic. The police are telling people where to go. The transit officials are there directing people like where to go. There's people everywhere. We are in a sea of people. We're just following the crowd, trying to get there. So here's the map from Google Maps. I want to map this out to really drive home to show you guys where we went. So in the red circle, we have Tokyo Big Sight, the entrance. And then in the green circle, I have Tokyo Big Sight Station. This is where we entered for Grand Blue Fest. So we went to Ariake Station up here. This is where they wanted us to go, right? So normally a 7-minute walk, but of course there's like all these people, right? Okay, so we get there and this is what we see. Just a sea of people being directed by officials with megaphones. And we're like, okay, where do we go? We need to figure out where to get into the PM line, right? Yeah, I put so much effort into this because I'm like, I need to drive home what we went through. And if you guys ever go to Comiket, I want you to be prepared as well. And if I ever go again, this is for future me. I don't know if I'd go to another Comiket again. We'll see. So yeah, a lot of people there. You can see the sea of people going up the stairs to get to Tokyo Big Sight. It is crazy. So we're trying to figure out where to go. We're trying to get into the right line. We need to go to the PM line. We like double check with one of the officials and we're like, okay, we think we're in the right line. We're not sure. There's so many lines going in different directions. It's hard to tell. But despite the number of people and the number of lines, it is actually quite organized. So again, another shot of just how busy it was. All the people clamoring to get in. So we get into this line and the line is, it's confusing because the line is taking us away from the venue, right? So we're like, we hope this is the right line. It's going in the opposite direction. So we go on this line, right? And we're just following the sea of people. And again, it's a line, but it's like a group of people, right? So it's not like single file. So people are like, some people are getting ahead of others, some people are getting behind others, but no one's like fighting each other. No one's like calling people out for budging or anything like that. We're all just walking in a line trying to get to the same place, right? Which I thought was kind of nice because people didn't fret too much about, like there were some people that were immediately ahead of us and then later they get further ahead of us or we'd get ahead of them. And it wasn't a big deal. There were just so many people to care about that kind of stuff. So we take this line and the line going like, again, away from the venue. We're like going down the road. We're like curving around. We're like going in the complete opposite direction of the venue. We're like, are we going to the right place? We really hope we're in the right line. Every like block or so, there's an official with a microphone or there's just a lone megaphone hanging from a chair that's broadcasting what the other megaphones are saying. So we are just all in this line heading away. And we're like, we're not really sure if we're in the right place. So the line keeps going. And we don't know where this line goes. I don't know at what point this line turns around and goes back to our actual location. Because I assumed that it turned around at some point, but I didn't know where. I couldn't tell. There's so many people and it was so far ahead. I couldn't tell. So we just followed instructions and kept going. The line eventually reaches a crosswalk. And so they actually have like event staff directing people when and to cross the street. So like they'll let certain people in at a time so we're not stuck with people in the crosswalk. I'm surprised how far we got without needing a crosswalk. Like they really mapped out the line in such a way to minimize the number of crosswalks we need to cross so we don't obstruct traffic. So we walked for like at least 3 or 4 blocks before we finally got to a crosswalk we had to cross. So we get across the crosswalk, we go across. There's also like a tiny strip of sidewalk on the side for people that are just normally going on the sidewalk, going in the opposite direction or whatever. I'm sure they know what's up if they're locals. They know this is Comiket. They know it's like this every year. I'm just thinking about all the people working in the office buildings looking down and being like, why is there a sea of people down there, right? They must be used to it by now, or maybe they have the time off for winter holidays. Either way, it's like this entire part of the city is just Comiket Central. Like, I think everyone is here. So the line keeps going and then it curves up a hill and then onto a bridge. And so it goes all the way onto this bridge, and then I think you can tell that eventually, so here we enter the bridge on the left side, eventually the line curves around and then comes out on the right side. Again, there's another crosswalk here, and they're letting people across in groups at a time so we don't obstruct traffic. So the line goes all the way across here, across the bridge, U-turns, and then comes all the way back. So we get onto the bridge, and then at this point, even though we've been in line for the whole time, we've always been moving. We've never stopped moving until we got to the bridge. This is where we finally kind of stopped. And I think this is where the line like was frozen until 12:30 when they started letting in the PM people. So we were here, and then this is where people started like making camp. People were taking out their snacks, people were taking out stools, sitting on the ground, eating their food. And so, we waited for a little bit. We had a couple snacks. We waited for uh, directions. Once in a while, we'd shuffle ahead a little bit here and there, but not too much movement. This is finally the part where we stood and waited. It wasn't that cold. It was kind of nice for me, at least. Maybe a little bit of a breeze here or there. The sun was kind of in our eyes, though. That was kind of the annoying part. Making sure that you like didn't have the sun directly in your eyes was a little bit of a problem, but honestly, it was fine. Did we have to use the washroom while in line? No. Thankfully, we did not. And like I mentioned earlier on the stream, if you know me, I'm the person that tries to minimize going to the washroom as much as possible. I'm the type of person that gets on a long airplane flight and doesn't move from my seat for the entire flight. So yeah, so we were fine. And at this point, we've only eaten like a light breakfast from the convenience store and McDonald's, so we're fine. And we knew there'd be a lot of waiting. So we stand here for a while until closer to 12:30. So we got here at like 11, and then at about 12:30, we finally start to move. So we've been on this bridge for, I don't know, an hour or something like that. And the line starts moving. So we go up the bridge, we curve around, we take a U-turn. So this is what the bridge looks like as you're looking back. And then we take a U-turn. And then now we're heading in the other direction down the bridge, right? So we're looping back, and you can see there's just a sea of people just ahead of us, down all the way down this path. We keep going. Eventually, there are porta potties. So here are the porta potties. They're in blue. There is a line to go use the porta potties, so you have to leave the line to get in line to use the porta potties. We did not, thank gosh. There were also some other foreigners there, and I overheard them speaking, and they were like, some of them were frantically keeping track of their discords, trying to make sure that what they were going for wasn't sold out. Like, they were like, oh my god, it's like so-and-so is at this table, and she says this is sold out. Or like, so-and-so just announced on Twitter that they're selling out of this. And luckily, like, we weren't in that position. We had a couple artists that we wanted to stop by, but because we didn't prepare ahead of time to come here, our list was very short. And a lot of these artists are foreign artists, so we didn't have like a ready hand to go list of tables we want to go. We just want to go see. And a lot of the tables selling out, I think we're selling like female merch, and we weren't really going mostly for female merch, so that was kind of nice. I was just thinking, like, back in the day when I used to go to Anime Expo, when I was on DeviantArt and everyone was on DeviantArt, and all the artists I followed would post their table numbers on their journals and their announcements, and I would literally make lists of who I want to visit and who was where, what was my optimal path through the artist alley to see them. Most of the time I was an artist alley helper too, so I didn't have to wait in line. So we would have extra time, like during setup or takedown, to go and check out the artists and chit chat with them and get to see our friends. So this time we did not do that. We were not prepared. We only had a small list, but yeah. So took this line down. There's like the porta potties. Line keeps going. Wow, we're finally back at Big Site. And then finally we get to a point where there's a split, and then there's a guy with a sign yelling like on-site wristbands this way. And we're like, thank God we got in the right line. And then this is the part where it diverges, because we're getting to the part in the line where they're like, everyone show your wristbands. Everyone show your wristbands. So everyone that bought tickets ahead of time was showing the wristbands. And we're like, uh-oh, like, we don't have wristbands. Are they going to kick us out of the line? But then we finally got to the diverging point, and then we got into the line to buy tickets. And so we got into the line, and actually from there it was very smooth. We went in, everything in Comiket is cash only. Like, there's no card or anything like that. So you get up to the front, and then there's just a table of people, and you just go in, you just hand them 1,000 yen bill, and then they just give you they slap the wristband on you, and then you just immediately go. Very quick, like quick transaction. You just go up, bam, money, bam, wristband, go. And then it was very smooth. I was very surprised. But the thing is also, it was very cheap to get in, because the whole point of Comiket is to support like local artists and its fan culture. So I think, it's understood that because it's fan art and fan fiction, you're not really supposed to profit off of it. So this whole thing isn't really made to be like profitable. So all the wristbands were only 1,000 yen. Everything you buy in there is cheap. You're not supposed to resell it, although you'll see people like scalping things online. The artists have a limit on how much they can like bring, but also a limit on how much they can charge for it. Basically, the point is they all want to go there and break even. Like, everyone here is just doing it for the love of the craft, and that is amazing to see all the people out here supporting artists in a world where AI art is threatening to take over. right? And people want fast culture and like fast stuff. You could buy things online. People are here supporting local artists, getting physical goods, waiting in line, paying with money, and showing their support. And that's beautiful. Just the sheer number of people here was incredible. And I just want to like highlight that because it was so cool. And again, like most of it was spent waiting in lines. Like all these people are here waiting in lines to support these people. Also, I also heard that like a lot of the artists here, they'll sell like dojins, and most of the dojins are actually printed by Comiket. They send their files to Comiket ahead of time. They look it over to make sure it's also like, you know, censored properly if there's any of that. And then Comiket actually like prints off the books for them. So it's like really artist friendly. And you'll see there's like a variety of artist skill levels. There's like entry levels and like expert levels, and they're all treated the same here, which is beautiful. Of course, there's also merch that the artists bring themselves, like if they have special like colored illustration books or like acrylic standees, like those they bring in. But for like just the dojins are printed and handled and delivered to their tables by Comiket, which I think is super cool. It's super artist friendly. Everyone here is just doing it for the love of the craft, and that is mad respect. Anyways, so we get here to the front line, we finally buy our wristbands, we're in. So here's the lineup to get the wristbands. It's a very quick line. You just go up, bam, money, bam, wristband, you're out of here. So let me update you on our map here. So now that you have a little bit of a glimpse of what we did. So Ariake Station up here in the green circle, Tokyo Big Sight here in the red circle. This is where we're trying to go. So this is our path. This is the path we took in line to get here. Take that in for a second. This is the line from Ariake Station all the way around onto the bridge, U-turn, back to Tokyo Big Sight. I cannot convey to you how long this line was. The blue circles are the places where we have to cross at crosswalks. So we only had to stop and cross 2 crosswalks. So they planned this out so that we would obstruct traffic as little as possible. Of course, there's a couple roads up near the big site that are just closed off for the event, but we only had to cross 2 crosswalks. Well, technically 3, because the second blue circle we had to cross twice, once going across and once back. This was the line. And also, I was very surprised no one tried to cut. Like, you know the part where the line U-turns? It'd be so easy for someone to just slip into the other part of the line. I didn't see anyone doing that. And I'm sure, of course, if someone did that, someone would call them out or one of the officials might notice. But like, honestly, no, everyone was super polite. Everyone understood that there'd be a line. No one was complaining. No one was trying to like push each other or budge. Like, it was extremely well organized for the sheer number of people that were trying to get in there. So yeah, this was a huge trek to get there. It was huge. It was crazy. And at so many points, we weren't even sure if we were going in the right direction. But we did it. So that is what you might expect if you go to Comiket. So this is just to get to the entrance. Let me tell you, this is just to get to the entrance. So this is the map of the facility. It's kind of hard to tell. There's an east wing, there's west wing. The east wings are a lot larger. There's a bunch of east wings. There's only a couple west wings. There's a south wing. There's an entrance plaza. You don't need to take this map in. If you wanted like a pamphlet or a brochure, you had to like buy one or whatever. We couldn't figure out where that was at the entrance and honestly didn't have time for that. So we just went in and we were like, let's go. Let's go find the artist we came here to find. So here is the list of things for the fandoms. So the green column is day 1 and the light blue column is day 2. So we were there on day 1 because day 2 is more for it's more for like girl oriented things like idols, like girl stuff. I don't know how to describe it. Like most of the shonen stuff and the stuff that the video games and all the stuff that we were interested in was all on the first day. So, but the second day is really big too because it is a lot of that for like those types of fandoms. But it's just not stuff that we were specifically there for. Anyways, so you could tell East Hall, they have like East Hall 4, 5, and 6, 7, and 8, all these different things. We were primarily interested in East 5 for the RPG stuff. And then East 6 was like the romance games and the fanfiction and gacha games and all that stuff. I like how some categories are big enough to warrant being there on their own. Like they just list Token Ranbu, Blue Archive, Azure Lane just outright because those are bigger fandoms, right? Kantai Collection. Uma Musume was freaking huge. And then like the West Wing was only like VTuber and Type Moon was just the West Wing. VTuber and Type Moon. And then South Hall was mostly like original stuff. Um, so we wanted to go to East 5 and 6, and then we wanted to go to South Hall. That was kind of our goal. But the problem is when we went in there, we did not plan ahead of time. So we go in and there was like a line to go into East Hall and the line to go in West Hall, and we mistakenly go to the West Hall, which is just VTuber and Type Moon stuff, which we don't really care about. Although there was one really cool Fate artist that I kind of wanted to go see, but I wasn't going to go through all of West Hall just to find one table when it was super busy like that. So we did not. Plus, I wasn't even sure I was going to buy stuff because I'm not like a Type Moon fan enough to buy the merch. I just wanted their art. I wanted that person's art. Anyways, we end up going to the West Wing instead of the East Hall by accident. Big mistake. The second you start going in the direction, oh yeah, it's also 50th anniversary sign. So this is what the entrance looked like, right? So you go to the East Hall or you go to the West Hall. So I'm like, okay, Kieran, which way do we go? And he goes, and we're on our way to the east side, and then he goes, west. So we have to cut across all these people, and it's like it's kind of a mishmash here in the middle. So we start going to the West Hall, and we very quickly figure out. Kieran checks his phone again and goes, "Uh-oh, we're going to the wrong hall. Uh-oh, we're in a sea of people. There is no turning back. You cannot U-turn in this hall. All the hallways in this place are monitored in such a way that you only get around using like specific directions, and everyone follows those directions. It's like a river of people. You cannot go against the river. So we are on our way to the West Hall. There's a sea of people. There's no way to go back. So we're like, uh-oh. Uh-oh, we just got in and now we're going in the wrong direction. So we have to follow this group of people, and then we can't find a way to turn around, and we finally get to the West Hall, and then we get to this, and then finally it's like, okay, now we can find a way to turn around. So we have to look for signs, and we find the sign that says go to East Hall. So we're like, okay, follow that sign. And there's like lines for the escalators, there's like lines to get into the hall, there's like lines for the washrooms, there's lines everywhere. We find the hall to get to the east side, and then that hallway takes us outside. So there's like people directing us, and so because this place has so many different paths, so to get from West Hall to East Hall, you actually have to leave the building, go outside, walk like 3 or 4 blocks away, U-turn, cross the street, turn around, and then come back to the building from a different entrance. That's why they had to close off some of those roads and stuff. No, don't feel bad about it, Kieran. Everything worked out in the end. It was a good experience, honestly. So we go outside, and then we walk like 3 or 4 blocks away, turn across the street, turn around, get back, and we're almost like, it takes us about somewhere between 30 and 40 minutes to go all the way back to get from the West Hall to the East Hall. So then we finally get to the East Hall, and then we just got to go inside and figure out which door to go through and start looking for stuff. So here is a map again of Tokyo Big Sight. So this is the red circle here, Tokyo Big Sight Entrance Plaza. The West Hall is actually like southeast of it. So the big W is the West Hall. And then the South Hall's here with the S. East Halls are over here. So we are in the West Hall. We want to go to the East Hall. So we end up going like this. So this is our path. We exit the West Hall, we go outside, we walk southeast like a few blocks, cross the street, then walk back up, and then enter the East Hall after a few blocks. So like that's how crazy it is here. Like they need paths going outside of the convention center to get back into the convention center. And every time you enter and exit, you have to like hold up your wristbands to make sure that people aren't like sneaking in. But they're pretty good about, blocking off traffic and making sure people are going the right directions. So it is crazy. You got to make sure you know where you're going, man. When you're going to Comiket, plan ahead. Don't be like us. So we get in. I don't want to take pictures in the hall. You're not really supposed to, especially because of all the artists and stuff I got to. I snap a quick picture just to show you like how crowded it is. It is basically like that picture from their official Twitter I posted at the beginning of this day's part of the stream. There are people everywhere, and there's like people trying to go in one direction, people trying to go in the other direction, people trying to cross. My experience is like in Anime Expo is, the hall's kind of lax. There's a lot of people standing around, milling about. chit-chatting, making conversation. There's none of that here. Everyone is just going to the tables they want. They buy their thing, they leave, they go to their next table. Like, it is rush, rush, rush. Like, be efficient, get the thing you need, get out of there. It's not sit around and visit with people time, right? A lot of the artist tables there, I'm pretty sure I saw were like proxies of the artists as well. Like, sometimes it's not the artists themselves at the table, it's a proxy there. But there's so many people there. And, like, yes, there are times where you can stop and talk to the artist and chit chat, but no one's like holding up the line and just standing. Like, I find that a lot in Anime Expo. You'll get people that come by, especially since I've, run a lot of artist tables, where they'll come by and they'll chit chat with you for 20 minutes about their favorite series. And then if you're lucky, they buy something or not, they just leave. There's no one doing that here. So there are a couple times where like we stop and talk to some artists. Like Kieran finds a couple of the artists that he knows, and we stop and have a little conversation, which is nice, but it is not the norm. It's not like everyone's stopping chit-chatting. Everyone's just go, 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 get the thing before it sells out, go to the next place, get out, get out, get out. Now, the cool thing about Japanese conventions is that the artist alley is organized by fandom. So like in the American convention scene, a lot of people's tables will sell multiple fandoms. They might cater to one in particular, but they usually have a bunch of things, and the tables are organized based on, when they signed up, size, etc. But here, like, all the tables are organized by fandom, and even within the fandoms, if they're big enough, they're organized by ship. So like when you sign up for a table, you got to declare like, oh, I'm selling this fandom and this is my primary ship, and that's what you're selling there, and then you get tabled accordingly. So there was some organization to it, but the signage I wish was better for finding things, because unless you knew exactly where a table was, sometimes it'd be hard to tell, like, am I moving up in the alphabet? Am I moving down in the alphabet? Am I in the game section? Am I in the anime section now? So we kind of find the game section, and we start finding our way around, and we find some series. A lot of really good art. Varying skill levels of the art too, which again is great to see. We find a couple tables of some artists that Kieran likes. We find some cool stuff that we find on the fly. I find some artists that I've even skebbed before. I didn't introduce myself, of course, but they're all speaking Japanese. I took some business cards. We bought a couple things. It was really nice, but getting oriented in here was quite the shock. Just getting in this room and trying to figure out where we're going, which direction we're going, was a bit of a shock. But once we figured out, like, okay, now we're moving up and down the aisles from like left to right, going up and down here. Like, once we got into the rhythm of it, it was fine. But then we had to like leave the hall to get into another hall because we want to get to the, like, this is like the games section, and we want to go to like the gacha game section to look for like stuff for that. It took us a while to figure out how to leave this hall and get into that hall, because that was also an east hall, but it was in like a different east hall, so it took us a while to get there. Oh, one thing I forgot to mention on stream, so I'm adding this in post, is while we were exploring the east hall, we also randomly came across some unexpected visitors. We came across the random people that we met at Grand Blue Fest that helped us out. Grimnir69 and their friend. We randomly bumped into them in the East Hall while scouring the tables, which is such a turn of fate, because the more I think about it, the odds of that happening are really low. Like, this convention is huge. There's so many people. There's so many different places one could be at any given time. There's 2 days of this convention too. And we just so happened to be in the East Hall, passing by a certain aisle at a certain time at the exact same time that they were passing by as well. So we quickly said hi, but we were trying to get to our location, and they were trying to get to wherever they were trying to go to, and they were with other friends too. So we didn't have time to have a big conversation, but it was like, whoa, hey, it's you guys. Hope you're doing well. Like, whoa, I can't believe we saw you again. And then we were on our way again. It was funny because Lork even said earlier in the day, he's like, oh, I wonder if maybe we'll see them, because, if they're in town, maybe there's a good chance they're going to Comiket. And I think I like said to him, like, oh, well, the chances of that are happening are quite low. Kieran said that he also had a couple friends that he knew that were actually also coming to Comiket, but we never ran into them. Even though they were supposed to be around as well, we just happened to not run into them, even though we figured there'd be a higher chance of running into them just because they'd be visiting a lot of the same areas that we were going to visit because of similar interests in artists and whatnot. So it was just kind of interesting that we ran into our new friends from Grand Blue Fest in this exact same location a couple days later. So we end up going to some tables. We find a lot of the ones we're looking for. We buy some stuff from them. We make it to the gacha hall. If we look around, the gacha hall is crazy. It's like literally 3/4 Uma Musume. I kid you not. It is 3/4 of the gacha games hall is just Uma Musume. It makes it completely dwarfs the Hoyoverse section. Yeah, Year of the Horse, no kidding, right? Not to mention like the Grand Blue section was pretty small. Arc Knights was also very small. It was like Uma Musume everywhere. So we shop around, we find some of the artists that we're looking for. We finally stop to take a break. We've been on our feet all day. Finally sit down out on like the tarmac. There's like a cosplay area where cosplayers are taking pictures. I was super impressed because again, when I first came in here and there's so many people, I saw some cosplayers and I was like, damn, like, you know, in North American cons, the cosplayers are walking around every 5 seconds, they're stopping to take photos. But of course, here there's designated photo areas, so no one's stopping to take photos because you can't. It's just so crowded. Not to mention those cosplays are super hot. I saw so many people wearing like entire like suits of armor, and I was like, how are they getting around and not overheating? It was so hot in there. So mad props to them. Plus the fact that you also need to change in your cosplay when you get there. I saw so many like really complicated cosplays. I don't know how you lug those things in. They probably need like, I know there's like an early admission gacha lotto, but like a lot of times like what do? You bring in like, you carry in like 2 suitcases worth of stuff? Like how do you do that? Mad props to them. Really amazing cosplays. But at the beginning I was really like scared for them because I was like, it's so hot in here. There's like, it's so crowded. Everyone's bumping elbows. No one's stopping to ask for your picture because they can't, right? So we take a break for a while. We sit down. We have some snacks. It's getting close to 3 o'clock. The whole con closes at 4. So we're like, okay, now we want to go to South Hall because we want to find the original art. So we've already finished in East Hall. We had no interest in West Hall. We want to go to South Hall. So to get to South Hall, we have to follow the signs. And just like before, the signs are a little confusing. They're winding us all around the building to go around so we don't conflict with other paths getting from other halls to wherever. We go pretty much around the entire building, like from the inside, snaking around to get to South Hall. It is quite a walk, but we never end up like stuck. We're always moving. Even though it's a line, we're always moving, which is nice. So we have to like go across. We have to take like this walkway across the road. We have to go outside onto the deck. There's like some cosplayers taking pictures out here. Still pretty crowded though. We just follow the line. And then we get to the hall that's right next to South Hall. There is like a corporate hall, but it's not like the same type of exhibition hall you'd find in like an American con. So yeah, the cosplayer section was really cool. So we finally make it into the exhibitioner hall and we get to South Hall. South Hall is a lot less crowded than East Hall or West Hall because it's all like original works. So let me explain to you. So we get into South Hall, we go down the stairs and we enter and we're like, okay, there's one specific artist that we were looking for because it was almost like 4:30-ish, or sorry, 3:30-ish. Con closes at 4, so we had some time. But a lot of people were already closing up, especially if they were selling out already. They were already closing up already, but there were still tables up. And we were praying to gosh, the one artist we were looking for was still open. So we get down here and we're like, where do we go? Okay, we know which table this is. It's like A something. So, okay, we get down and like, this is not drawn to scale. I just randomly put down shapes. So we get down and we're like around the K section. We're like, okay, so the next job is to find out which direction it goes. So we go, oh, okay, it goes up this way. So we go, okay, let's go towards A. So we go from K and we start moving our way up to A. So we get all the way down to the last row and it's B. So we're like, okay, so that means that the next row here is A, right? This must be A. So we go to A and then we realize that A is not this wall, or rather not just this wall. A is this. A is the entire outer wall. So we get to A and we're like, oh, and the tables aren't all numbered, even though we know the table numbers. There's only like markings here and there. So we're like going up and down. We're like, how far is this number? And we're not sure if we passed it or not, or we're not sure if they packed up and left already. We end up going around the entire hall. And then the red block here is where we finally find the table that we were looking for. We went all the way around and it was right there next to the stairs in the end. We went all the way around and finally found the table. And they were in the middle of packing up. It was about 3:40, so 20 minutes left, and they were in the middle of packing up. And so we stood there awkwardly being like, so do we give up? Do we say something? We weren't sure. We didn't speak much Japanese. and they noticed and they asked us like, "Oh, can we help you?" And so Kieran, with his magic Japanese, explains that we're, they're like, it's the artist here. We just want to see your works. And again, pure fate. We make it right as they're like just about to put away their merch. Very kindly, they show us the catalog. Unfortunately, they're not able to put the things out on display for us to look at. Understandable, but at least they showed us the catalog and we were able to purchase the things that we wanted and get them signed at the last minute, the 11th hour. Really, like it was a stroke of fate that we got there just in time, right as they were putting away their stuff. Very fortuitous. And also, I want to mention as well, because like I mentioned before, Comiket, everything is cash only. There's no credit cards here. But like I mentioned back at the Grand Blue Fest, like everyone's very respectful when it comes to money. Like everyone has like the little money trays. When you give them the money, they put your money on the tray so it's in clear view as they get your change, so they see that they're not like, I don't know, swapping anything out. They'll count your change in front of you. They'll take the money off the tray. They'll put your change on the tray, count it out, and make sure you know the price and hold it up, and then let you take the it's very like, I don't want to say it was like serious and regimented. It was just a very like a politeness thing, and I thought it was really refreshing and really cool. Yeah, they all had the little money trays to take your money and return it on as well. I just thought it was really sweet, especially because I'm just so used to not that. So finally, it's time to leave, and you know what leaving means, right? Lines. It's time to wait in line again. We thought it was like 3:45, right? So we're like, oh, it's 4 o'clock, right? The con closes. So if we leave now, maybe we could beat the rush. Wrong. It was lines. So we had to take a line to get out and leave the con. So now we leave by the station that we had come here on for Grand Blue Fest, the Tokyo Big Sight Station. So we line up, we have to go up the stairs, we have to go all the way around, all the way into the station. And of course, I think the transit, they know they were planning for Comiket. I think they knew, because obviously at the beginning I said there were police and transit there. So I think they probably scheduled extra trains to the station during this time. But yeah, so the line was always moving, but like in little spurts, because everyone have to get on the train, and then the next group of people would be able to go. So we line up, and it's actually not that bad, but it still takes us a good like 30 to 45 minutes or so to leave to get to the station. So lines. Oh, I finally take a picture of the sign that's out at the front. It's actually not a bad picture, actually. Here's it from the other direction. So we're coming from that building. You can see the line snaking around. We're almost at the station now. Oh yeah, I also want to mention on their Twitter, they also mentioned that they were taking blood donations there. We didn't see where they were doing it, but apparently they get a lot of donations here. I guess it makes sense. Like, people want to show their support. There's a lot of waiting. Might as well, I guess, do something while you're waiting. But there were like blood donation stuff going on there, which is really cool. Really, really cool that they are making like a difference in a different way, in addition to also, showing the respect to the fans and the artists and stuff too. Pretty cool. So after we finally get home, like Kieran's like, this is just like that episode of Lucky Star from like over 10 years ago where they go to Comiket, and like literally everything in the show completely holds up. We watch this when we get home, and it is completely accurate, and to the point where in the anime they get to the part where they're like, make sure that you go to the right hall. If you get into the line for the wrong hall, you'll get swept away, and it will take you 40 minutes to get back. And that is exactly what happened to us. We got swept away in the top left here. She gets swept away into the wrong hall, and then it takes her forever to get back to the hall that she needs to go. That's exactly what happened to us. Everything in the anime is exactly what happened. I never watched Lucky Star growing up. I know what it is. I recognize the characters in the dance, but yeah, go watch it if you want to know what Comic like. It is exactly this, to the point where like in the anime, this like the blue-haired girl is like the experienced con goer, and then the two purple-haired sisters are new. So she goes in and she's like, okay, here are your purchasing lists. Here's the direct order that you go through the halls. This is the order that you go through them. These ones you go to first because they sell out fastest. You need to take this route through. Do not go to the washroom because you'll be stuck in line forever. Do not get swept into the wrong hall. Make sure you only have cash on you. We meet back here at this time. If we get lost or miscommunication, we don't have time to call each other. Like, it is exactly what happened. Everything in the anime is exactly what happens. at Comiket. I can now confirm. So if you want to know what the experience is like in a comedic way, it was just so funny watching it because we were like, that is exactly what happened to us. That is exactly the lesson we learned. This is exactly what it was like. It was pretty funny. So we finish up with Comiket for the day. We go back to Ikebukuro to walk around and get some food and get some dinner. Um, Here's a picture of Chikawa Park. We didn't actually go inside, but there was a big Chikawa store, which is really cute. As we're waiting or walking around, we also come across this giant takoyaki place, which is pretty. It looked really cool. It looked really good. So we decided to stop by and have some. So they have these like giant takoyakis. They're like the size of. They're like bigger than tennis balls. I guess they're almost like small bowling balls, like not the big bowling balls, like the small like kitty sized bowling balls. They were huge. You can get them in different flavors, and we were hungry and we didn't want to have like a full meal just yet, so we stopped by here and like they have a really cute little Ferris wheel at the front showcasing their takoyakis as it turns around, and they have the different takoyakis. I have the which one did I get? I got the teriyaki mayo cheese one. Lork got like the spicy one. More on that later. I think Kieran got the same one as me, teriyaki mayonnaise with cheese. They were very good. They were very hot though. So this is what it. Oh, also, they had like capsule machines with the toys of the takoyakis that you can get in like keychain form or whatever, which I thought was cute. So we find a place to sit down. There's like a little area in the back where you can sit down or you can stand around eating. And like this is what it looks like. You get it in a box and it's just gigantic. Like basically you just pick at it with your chopsticks and take it apart and deconstruct it and eat it. So kind of messy. It was tasty. Is it the best way to enjoy takoyaki? Maybe not. It's more for the novelty, but it was good. So Lork gets the spicy one, thinking that he can handle it because he likes spicy. Turns out it is way more than he can handle. He's like sweating and eating the spicy takoyaki, now swearing off that he will not try the spicy things if he doesn't know the spice level anymore. We don't have any drinks yet either, so we have to go to the convenience store afterwards to get some milk for him. He learned his lesson. It was the spiciest thing you've ever eaten. Because I think his logic was like he likes spice, he can handle spice. In general, Japanese food usually when it goes into spicy, it's not usually that bad, but apparently it was very spicy. And I personally don't really eat spicy food, so I can't really judge. But he was red and sweating, and he, yeah, he. We had to go get some milk. So we keep walking around, and we check out K-Books. So K-Books, like Lashibang earlier, is also a place where you can like turn in your anime goods and resell, and other people can buy them. And there's a whole bunch of K-Books everywhere. There's K-Books everywhere, and basically, like Kieran explains to us that it's everywhere because different ones have different things. So this one's K-Books game, so it's like specifically game stuff, and there's K-Books like anime, there's K-Books for cosplay, there's K-Books for like idols, there's K-Books for doujins, there's K-Books for like everyone. So we are kind of only interested in the game one right now. Not all of them are labeled. This one just happens to be labeled K-Books game. So we go in there and we start looking around, and for some reason, there's so much Danganronpa merch in here. Literally, like a quarter of the store is just Danganronpa merch. Is this indicative of people returning their Danganronpa merch? I don't really know. But I was surprised to see just how much of it there was. And honestly, kind of tempted by some of it. Because even though like I didn't like 100 Line or Raincoat, I still like Danganronpa, and specifically I like Saihara, so I don't really have that much Saihara merch. And they actually had quite a bit of Saihara merch. But most of it was him like in his swimsuit or alternate outfits. And I kind of want his regular outfit. So like I saw them and I was tempted. They're kind of expensive. I was really on the fence. At the time, I wasn't really sure if I wanted to get them. But they had so much Danganronpa merch. They had like all the swimsuit standees and stuff, which I didn't even know they had these as merch. I know they had swimsuits, but I didn't know there was merch of it. Oh yeah, I found a Rantaro from Danganronpa with Kuropi for some reason, which I thought was super cute. Yeah, this entire on the right side here, this entire aisle was just Danganronpa, and I was super surprised. Oh yeah, I found like this Devil May Cry standee for Nero, like a tiny acrylic, and it was so cute. I was like, oh, this is so cute, and I wasn't going to get it, I wasn't planning to get Devil May Cry merch, but it was so cute and he was drawn so well, and there were a couple of them, and I was like, oh, wait, look at the price. Wait a second, that thing's 22,000 yen. It must be like limited edition or something, or limited run. You can also tell because some of the things in the store are zip tied, so you can tell here it's zip tied behind the hook. You need to ask a store employee to come and get it for you, and I can see why. I was like, oh, like I was going to get it under the assumption that, you know, it's a resale store, right? Things should be cheap. Wrong. Remember how earlier I showed you that like Persona 3 standee that was like what, like 100 and or like 15,000 or 11,000, and that sounded like a lot. This thing is 22,000 yen. That's like almost 220 Canadian. A little bit less if you're going in American. And like it's a tiny acrylic standee. It's like the size of your finger. For that much. That's crazy. US dollars 140. Okay. Dang. Like, can you think about that? That is crazy. So needless to say, I was like, well, I'm not getting that. If it was a cheap little thing, yeah, sure. I was like, what the hell? Well, I found this cute, like, Apollo standee with him, like, doing magic tricks, which is cute. I ended up getting this for a friend. I found the Iron Frogger keychain. I was tempted to get this, but in the end, I didn't. It was also zip tied, and I didn't want to ask an employee to zip tie like a million things for me, because I also wanted a bunch of Saihara things. And also, it was weird asking because I couldn't really speak very good Japanese. And they were also about to close. They were like rushing to close. So in the end, we decided that we'll just come back tomorrow and decide if we want to buy anything. But it was fun window shopping. They had a sizable Persona section and a Street Fighter section too. Across the street, there's also another K-Books. This is the one that's specifically geared towards like light novels, otomes, BL. Kieran explained to us this is the one that's known as the yaoi dungeon because it's a staircase that goes down, and it's got like a bunch of like pictures of like BL and light novel stuff as you go down, so it's nicknamed the yaoi dungeon. We weren't able to take a picture of it because they were closing up and there were people exiting and stuff like that too, so more on that. We will come back the next day to take a picture of this and go inside and check. But it was kind of funny because every time we passed by this place, there were tourists taking photos of it. I think everyone knows it's the yaoi dungeon, which it's not even like specifically yaoi. It's got BL, but it's also like a lot of it's otome stuff. But there were so many like tourists, very American tourists, I might add, like snickering outside, being like, this is a yaoi dungeon. Let's take a picture, huh? This is so funny. Like there were quite a few of those people every time we passed by this place. And I guess I can't really say anything because we also took pictures of it too, but yeah, more on that tomorrow. On our way back, we stopped by Gigo, which is like the arcade. It's like round one, and we we stopped by and just kind of have a little bit of a look. They have gacha machines, they have crane machines, they have like arcade games. There's 4 floors of this place in the one we go to. I feel like there's like a Gigo on every block in Ikebukuro. There were so many. So we decided to come in and have a look. They had some cute stuff. I took some pictures of some interesting merch. They had like Spider-Man stuff. They had like Minecraft games. There were a lot of people doing the rhythm games, like the Taiko games. There were these Pokemon games. I can't remember the name of this game, but a lot of people were playing it. It's like Pokemon Frienda or something like that. There were like Mario Kart stuff. I saw Luigi's Mansion. I was kind of surprised about that. They had a lot of crane games. There was an entire floor full of crane games. A lot of them were for figures and stuff. So you could see some like Demon Slayer, some Bucky. I was surprised to see this one. This one's like a Venom one. Venom King in Black. He's like holding an axe. It's a very elaborate statue. It was very cool to see. A lot of Token Rambu stuff again. I thought Token Rambu kind of was like too old. Like people didn't. I know it's still ongoing. I just didn't think people still cared about that much. But we saw quite a bit of it actually. Oh yeah, there was like Yu-Gi-Oh figures. There was like Obelisk the Tormentor, Red Eyes Black Dragon, Exodia. There were like Madoka egg locket things. There were Gundam games. They also had like some promotional event going on to celebrate like the anniversary of something. I kept seeing signs for this. Oh yeah, so some of the games also had computers next to them and like carts so you can move around. I don't know if you can actually move it around, but Kieran explained to us that if you want, you can come here and you can stream. So if you're really good at this rhythm game or whatever, or I don't know, this looks like a tactical like mobage thing. You can stream. You just have to like log on to OBS from the computer next to it and then stream straight from the arcade, which is kind of cool. I don't know if the station's like movable or if it's like we only saw a couple of them if they're only like tethered to specific cabinets, but it's cool. There was another streaming station attached to this Taiko thing. There was Ensemble Stars. It's quite popular in Japan. We saw quite a bit of Ensemble Stars. Oh no, this is a Idolmaster. Sorry, not Ensemble Stars. There was a lot of Ensemble Stars. Don't get me wrong, but we also saw a lot of Idolmaster. I get them confused because I don't know them that well. Pokemon stuff. Mimikyu. I like all the Gengars. The Gengars are cute. I like all the silly faces they have. But I would never play a crane game. They're rigged, and I'm not good at them. And I've also just never done one, so... I was surprised the number of crane games that had snacks in them. Like, if I want a snack in an arcade, why would I crane game it? Instead of just buying snacks. But, like, there were quite a few people getting snacks from the crane machines. Which I was very surprised. There were quite a few crane machines with snacks. Like, look at this. There was one for, like, Godiva chocolate. Like, I can't fathom the idea of going to an arcade and then playing a crane game to get a snack. Like, look at this. There was an entire thing of Pringles. Look, there was a crane game of Pringles. Why would you do that? These ones must not be rigged as much. They must have a higher, like, calibration on them, because there's no way. I'm anti-gacha, I'm anti-crane. These are cool. Some Pokeballs. Some shiny Lucarios. Again, the weird thing about this was we visited a lot of Pokemon places, and I think the only Pokemon that had shiny merch of them was Lucario. Like, I know Lucario's popular, but I just found it weird that he was the only Pokemon that had shiny merch. You would think they would try to sell more shiny merch of Pokemon. Also, I kind of think shiny Lucario is kind of ugly. I think the color doesn't really suit him. But yeah, he was the only Pokemon that we saw shiny merch of anywhere. Musica, welcome to the stream. Thank you so much for following me and being a froggy friend. Welcome in. The one on the left here disturbs me. This is some kind of mascot character that we saw around. This kind of disturbs me. This furry crane cabinet. Oh yeah, we saw some Legends ZA stuff as well. We also saw a lot of this thing from Garden of Bam Bam, I think. We saw a lot of it everywhere. And even to the point where you could buy like the ring, the red ring, and then put it on other. We saw people with like other plushies wearing the ring. Oh, the Osaka World Expo mascot. Oh, it says right here, Osaka. I thought this is from Garden of Bam Bam. Apologies then. That makes a little bit more sense. But anyways, we saw this thing everywhere. This one was kind of cute. There was like a giant like plushy shark, and you had this game. You had to like cut the rope to drop it in. It was really cute. It looks like one of those cute plush sharks that is like hanging out to dry on the clothes rack. And then we also saw this. There was a Zenless Zone Zero collab with Gigo that was starting the next day. Guess what we did the next day? Spoiler alert. We came back here the next day. More on that later. But yeah, there was a Zenless Zone Zero collab starting the next day with Gigo. Kieran can tell you a lot about that. We also stopped by the Bandai store, the Bandai Gashapon store. I was very surprised to see Ape Escape merch, but I was pleasantly surprised to see Ape Escape merch there. There was also Kingdom Hearts merch, which was also kind of weird, but cool. And Gundam, of course. But yeah, Kingdom Hearts. More Yu-Gi-Oh figures. This time they added Black Luster Soldier in there as well. Dark Magician Girl. You can get like a plushie dual disc. You can see them kind of in the center here. The plushie dual disc. They were kind of cute, actually. I don't know what I would do with one, but it was a cute idea. There were some cool figures, though. Like, honestly, like some pretty cool figures. It's just a lot of them were for mainstream fandoms I'm not part of. Oh, cute Kirby stuff. These are cute. They were like little dioramas for you to go take your like figures to and take pictures of. I saw these when I was in California as well, but I just think it's cute. You can go and take your little Oshis out for a walk and take some photos. I was so surprised to see Tails stuff. I mean, I know it's Namco Bandai. I was like almost certain I would not see any Tails in this building, and yet they had it. They actually did. I was very surprised. I think these were the same like derpy little plushies that we saw at the Tails Museum that you could buy. But of course, here it's a crane game. They are cute. I was glad to see them at the Namco Gachapon store. I was like, they did not forget Tails. They were cute. Also more Idolmaster stuff, including Idolmaster cabinets for different games. Which is funny again, because like Idolmaster, like they canceled like the mobile game, but that was never their primary thing. It's like the music and the merch and stuff like that too. So they're still going strong despite that. I was never into Idolmaster specifically, but I do recognize some of the characters just from fan arts. More gacha machines. The Pikmin were cute, and they had little Mario ones as well. I ended up getting some of the Pikmin ones for one of my friends, but I got a couple of them, and then the machine, I think, jammed afterwards because I think it ate my money on the fourth attempt, so I just gave up after that. And it was finally time for dinner. So we went to go get some hot pot, some shabu shabu. And we went to a place that was pretty close by called Momo, and it was pretty good. It was what I would expect from hot pot, but they also had a lot of wagyu, which is nice. Now, when you go there, it is like I think it was 90 minutes all you can eat for a set price. So when we got there, it felt very rushed. Like they were like they were polite, but it felt very rushed in getting us to sit down and quickly order like what drinks do you want, like which set do you want, here's where you can get this, and here's your thing here, and what do you want here. Like it was very fast, and so I could tell like Kieran was like, you know, using his Japanese, but it was also like a little bit of a struggle because they were like really fast about it. They really wanted to get us going, I guess, because of the 90-minute limit. But luckily they were open late, which is good because we were also it was quite late in the day, as you can tell. We went to Comiket and then we walked around so much. So the cool thing was they also had like covers for your jacket. So you put your jacket over the chair, and then they would come around and just put this cover over top so it doesn't get like too smelly or splash some hot pot on it. They were on that though. Like the second I put my jacket down, they came out of nowhere and like put the jacket sock over it very, very efficiently. So we got two types of hot pot. We got sukiyaki and shabu shabu. My favorite hot pot usually is sukiyaki, but the shabu shabu was also good. Yeah, they were like jacket ninjas. Yeah, exactly. But personally, I kind of prefer individual hot pots over shared hot pot. But it was fine, but it was a little bit messier, and also because we felt a little rushed. So they had like the vegetable market where you can go and get the vegetables and like the fixings and stuff, and we ordered our wagyu meats and we started having hot pot. It was great. It was delicious. Here's some of our meat. I didn't take pictures of everything because obviously we were quickly trying to cook and eat. There was a drink station. You can also make your own tea, which is cool. They also had a dessert, which was vanilla ice cream, green tea ice cream, red bean ice cream, yuzu sherbet. There was quite the line for the dessert though, and by the time we were leaving, there was quite a line for it, and they were also doing last calls from the kitchen, so a little bit of a rush. Remember how I told you earlier about this drink when we were at the other place? I had the cassis milk. So the cassis again is a blackcurrant alcohol originating from France, and how I said last time that I had it, and I'm not really much of a drinker. Whenever I drink anything, even with a little bit of alcohol, I can tell immediately that there's alcohol. Like I'll feel a little buzz, or I'll feel like a little like capillaries dilating. But at cassis, I didn't do that with, right? Like I drank it last time and I felt nothing. So this time I saw they had cassis on the menu. In fact, they had like 4 or 5 types. So this time I tried a cassis peach. Last time I had a cassis milk. I had a cassis peach. It was really good. This drink was so delicious. It was basically just peach juice with a little bit of that current flavoring. Again, I felt nothing from this. No alcohol feeling from it at all. I think I had two. It was really good. I just want to mention that. You will see later though on a later day. I have another cassis that I don't enjoy as much. So maybe I don't like cassis specifically. Maybe I just like all the fun juices they come with. And that was our day. That ends day 3 of our trip, including also day 0, which is arrival. So technically that covered 4 days. We've been streaming for 4 hours and 40 minutes, and we're only on day 3, and it goes up to day 8. But those were kind of the busiest days. Grand Blue Fest and Comiket, I think I have the most stuff to say. So much stuff happened. So much stuff happened. So I'm not even done the slideshow yet. The slideshow ends after a few pictures because I'm not done yet. There was so much to do. So I will need to continue the slideshow on another stream after I make the rest of the slideshow, which will probably be on Sunday. If you're watching this on YouTube, I'll probably also split the VOD up by day to make it easier to navigate. Also, just because I think it looks better and it makes it easier for titles because we could talk about... The cool thing is every day we had one major event, right? Like Grand Blue Fest, Comiket, Tales Museum. So it makes it very easy to separate everything out. But you can tell we had a really fun time. Very interesting time. Comiket was quite the experience. I don't think I would willingly just go to Comiket again, but if I happen to be in Japan and I happen to be with people that want to go too, I'll go again. But it was quite the ordeal. And it's not like I was there set out to buy anything specific. Otherwise, I would be probably a little bit more worried about trying to actually get stuff done. But I was just there to take in the sights, and it was fun. And again, if you want to go to Comiket one day, you should take my advice that I gave during the stream about making your visit a little bit easier as well. And my advice for Grand Blue Fest too. Anyways, that was a lot of talking. It's nice to be back though. It's nice to be streaming again. I miss streaming a lot. I've been, again, holding myself back from streaming because I'm like, I need to get the slideshow done. I want to talk about my trip before I start playing games again. So, next stream, probably Sunday evening, we'll go over the second half of the trip. And then we have some other stuff going on. So I have some other stream stuff planned for later this month. Keep your eyes out. Anyhow, thank you so much for coming to the stream. I really appreciate it. Hope you guys had a good time. Hope this was fun to listen to or educational in some way. It was just fun to share the trip. Yeah, thank you for coming by. I'm glad you guys enjoyed. Let's find someone to raid. Let's see. Perfect. Tay is streaming some Rift fishing. Let's go say hi to him. I'll see you guys probably on Sunday for the second half of the trip stream. Hopefully, I think we should be able to get through everything on another stream, even though we're only like maybe 40% of the way through the trip, but we're probably at least 60% of the way through like the number of photos I took. Anyways, take care and see you guys then. Bye, froggy friends.